Welcome to the Rated Gen Z podcast, Kiki. Happy
Thank you so much.
Tuesday. Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday.
It's all a blur to me this week. Okay, so we were just talking about how cool it was that you actually saw what I was doing on LinkedIn. And I always like to comment on that because a lot of times people ask me, how do you find these incredible young adults? That's how I do it.
LinkedIn's where it's at.
Exactly, it is. And a lot of people assume that you guys aren't on there. And I'm like, no, they're on there, believe me. And you guys are posting and it's incredible. So I absolutely love it. So this makes it known to people that think that you guys aren't hanging out on LinkedIn. You surely are.
Definitely.
Well, Kiki, I always love for my guests to intro themselves because I figure you guys do the best job at that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm Kiki Whitman. I'm an incoming sophomore at UC Berkeley. And I grew up in a rural town, kind of east of Bakersfield called Lake Isabella. It's like 4,000 people. And I'm the founder of the Opal Initiative.
So cool. Okay, so is that anywhere near one of my best friend from UCLA? So we're both UCers. She grew up in Delano. Do
It's
you know what
kind of
town it
near.
is?
I mean, it's all Central Valley. So, I
Yeah.
mean, definitely. And I feel like I'm in enemy territory now because, UC Berkeley and UCLA we're enemies. And Stanford comes in a little bit too.
Yeah, one of my best friends from high school, she went to Berkeley and I did go visit her, I think maybe my sophomore year. And it definitely was very different than UCLA, like the Westwood environment and then the Berkeley
Yeah.
environment, very different.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I moved to LA when I was 14, and so I'm a big basketball fan and grew up kind of going to the UCLA women's games.
Oh,
And
wow.
like I always wanted to go to like UCLA up until high school, and then I was like, wait, I want to go to Berkeley. Aside from like the fact that I loved Monsters University, and Monsters University was based off of UC Berkeley. And so growing up, I had this competing narrative
I didn't
of
know
like,
that.
yeah, it's really funny. And so growing up, I had this competing like narrative of do I want to go to UCLA or do I want to go to Berkeley? And ultimately Berkeley won by a landslide. I got my acceptance letter and I like accepted same day. I was like, I don't care, I'm going. Um,
Wow. Well,
so
they're both excellent schools, so it
they're
wasn't like you
amazing.
were gonna F up your decision. But
Yeah,
I feel
right.
like it definitely is very different. Like I didn't even apply to Berkeley because I knew that I just wouldn't, I guess maybe I don't want to say like thrive in that environment, but I just knew that like at the time I needed something a little bit more, I want to I guess like mainstream. I know that sounds kind of weird, but
No,
you
it makes
know,
sense.
I mean it's definitely a different vibe there at Berkeley. What are you studying again?
So I'm studying political
That's
science,
right.
which was the driving factor for
Makes
going to
sense.
UC Berkeley. I mean, it was the civil rights school.
Yeah.
And I think it just has really set me up for a lot of things. But Opal has a chapter launching at UCLA this fall. So I mean, I can't hate UCLA too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, be careful of what you say.
Yeah.
So then tell me all about the Opal Initiative because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, so the Opal Initiative is a pending, I want to say pending
Okay.
501(c)(3) nonprofit that focuses on providing opportunity for students no matter where they're from, and really channeling this energy that like students have the power and the capabilities to achieve what they want and to reach their goals and to create. And our motto is the meeting about the meeting ran long. And so what we kind of are explaining through this is like we have these institutions for so long that are supposed to support students and uplift them, and we feel like that's failing. And students need to take matters into their own hands. And so we're launching two flagship initiatives this year. One is the Opal Impact Challenge, which is across college campus, across UCLA, UC Berkeley, and UC San Diego, where students are put into little groups and they compete to create the greatest impact project based on a certain prompt. We're actually voting at our next meeting regarding the prompt. And then our second flagship initiative is the Rural Fellows Programs, which connects, college, university students with rural students starting in 8th grade and providing this mentorship opportunity for them. I grew up in a rural school up until I was in 8th grade, and that was a really big shift for me coming into college. And being exposed to these kids that like have had, I mean, in my opinion, like these paved roads to get to these four-year institutions. I like talk about it all the time with even my roommates, and they're like, yeah, like 20 kids, from my school went to UC Berkeley. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
I'm out of what would have been my graduating class. I think maybe 4 or 5 kids out of like 30 end up going to like a four-year institution. And so I think it's amazing work. It's beautiful. We've started about 4 months ago, and we've already grown so much. We've expanded so much, and it's channeled all by students. So we have a student board, and then we have a board of directors. And our student board really is like the fundamental strength of Opal, and nothing goes to our board of directors until the student board approves it. And just it's all college students running it. So it's so amazing.
I love that. By the way, I live down the street from UCSD, so I feel like now I have a connection to all three in this
Yeah, no,
in this
you do.
episode. Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned something that I think is really important to share, and I want to dive deeper into it because it's actually something I was going to ask you, and then when you brought it up, I'm like, okay, perfect segue.
Yeah.
So, you talk about how there's all these institutions that have all these programs, and you have all these initiatives that are coming from adults and from nonprofits that are run by adults, and then you've got advocacy work run by adults, but I feel like nothing's actually happening. And so that's why there's so many of you that have these youth-led initiatives. I understand that a lot does have to do with college applications and getting into college and standing out and doing something different. But what I'm recognizing is that you guys are also fed up with the fact that nothing's actually happening. And so the only way for it to like move the needle at least is by you guys being the one at the forefront of all of this. So are you noticing a shift? At least because I'm starting to notice a shift. Like it's crazy how many initiatives I see out there and the following and the impact and the visibility and everything that you guys are doing. I'm going, damn, like they're making shit
Definitely.
happen.
Yeah, I mean I resonate with that so much. I think for students, we get through K through 12, and our entire focus is getting to college, or at least that's what my focus was. And so many students at like four-year institutions are like, let's get to college. And so I think from what I've been exposed to at Berkeley, there very much is the shift, because I mean students choose these big name schools because we think it's going to take us somewhere and it's going to provide connections.
Yeah.
And you get to these four-year institutions, and especially across the UC campuses, you can't even get into a club. I mean, these institutions are built for you, but you can't even get to a club because there's 100 applications and only 20 spots, and it's
Really?
like so competitive. These environments that like that's been built for students is so competitive, and it's also just like it's very much based on your name and your connections. And so I think students are very fed up with it. Personally, I mean, I could get into my whole passionate spill of just like there needs to be more opportunity for
Yeah.
students. And I think there's even a further divide across, socioeconomic categories too. When you look at like, I mean, I can speak for like the rural environments. I didn't even know what a 501(c)(3) was until I got to high school and, had left my rural town. I was talking with some friends that I grew up with, like childhood friends, when I started, kind of planning out what Opal would do. And I was like, did you guys have opportunity to dual enrollment? And she responds, it's like, what's dual enrollment? And I'm like, okay, did you take the SATs or ACTs? I don't even know what that is. And it's like how, I
Really?
mean,
Wow.
America is based on this like idea of like freedom and prosperity. And we live in California, which I personally believe is like one of the greatest states. And it's like we're not providing I mean, I'm California born and raised.
Me
But
too.
we're not providing these opportunities for students. And so there's this divide even there where you come to a four-year institutions and you have students that started nonprofits just to put it on their college applications and just put it in, and then they never do anything. And then you have these students that don't even know that's even a possibility. And so that's really what Opal is trying to do is, bridge this divide across students and empower students no matter where you're from, what you do, your socioeconomic category, because it's really important. And I think, personally, I'm so passionate about it because I have friends and I even myself, I'm just like, man, if I had these opportunities, um, there's so much greater work I could have done or could do. And so I do think students, to go back to your question, I think students are so fed up. I think we just live in a society where it's like, no, like you said, no one's getting shit done and we need shit to get done.
Yeah, no kidding. Uh, so then this is what's interesting too, is I will say you are one of the few guests that I've had on either Rated Gen Z or my Rock the Boat YouTube channel where it's under 18, where someone is like that from that rural of an area. And
Yeah.
just you kind of admitting what you didn't know and kind of, I don't want to say ignorance, but naiveness, just because you weren't exposed to any of those things, right? So you go to Berkeley, you're like, wait, what?
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what is really interesting with all of this is that the guests that I do have that come from cities, very privileged, you guys all have the same common ground at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Like you understand that you want to give back and you want to help your peers. And it doesn't matter like your upbringing, you all have kind of the same idea of let's support one another and the only way we can make shit happen is by coming together. And that's something that I'm recognizing that is that you guys don't really allow kind of that socioeconomic piece of it to come into play where so many older generations they did automatically and you guys are kind of like I don't care where you're from, I don't care what you do, what your parents make or what you, as long as we can come together and agree that we want to actually make a positive difference and help one another, then who cares? And I
A
love that.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I can speak from my experience at Berkeley. It was shocking, just like being exposed to the different people. And I mean, I like in rural towns even too. It's like there's such a lack of exposure to like just the smallest things that like people who grew up in the Bay Area see every day. Like, and so when I got to Berkeley, it was just insane. There's so many different people and so many
Mm-hmm.
different stories and environments, and it's like you meet someone and their dad is connected to this person. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Or you think
holy
you're really
shit.
smart and then you start meeting other
Oh my
people
God.
and you're like, okay, I'm not as smart as I thought I
No,
was.
I mean, I am like a political science nerd. Like I wake up and I love like reading the news. And I had my first discussion class at like my like first semester, and I like started talking. I'm like, holy crap, I'm gonna get outsmarted like every day. It's insane. But I mean, the challenging environment is so important, and
Yeah.
like so it's I mean it's a beautiful thing, and I think students are really passionate, and I do think we're gonna see in some form a revolution across, you know, the Gen Z being fed up and wanting to kind of
Yeah.
bring this like idea of unity back to like it doesn't matter where you're from, what you're doing, like let's make shit happen. And I mean, I have listened to a couple of your podcasts and I really resonate with what you said. Because I mean, all these students just want to help people. Like, and we
Yeah.
care so much. And we grew up in a, an environment where students really had to care for each other. I think like COVID was a
Mm-hmm.
big, big, I don't want to say thing, but big thing for students and really like
Mm-hmm.
kind of bonded us in a certain way. So I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and no, this is what's really cool is that, I did my documentary film last year, I Hear You Gen Z, and just a year from that, I'm already starting to kind of change a little bit about how I feel like your generation needs to thrive. And so what I want to make a comment is that in my film, and I don't want to like do a spoiler because I say it at the end because I get asked like what did you learn and like what do you see for this generation? And I will say is that I do feel like you guys are a lot like the baby boomers. But what I'm recognizing is that with the baby boomers, a lot of that generation, because they were hippies, they were totally just like peace, love, and anti war, and really like, all the adults, like these kids, they're just crazy, right? But something happened like along the way that they kind of started to conform. And then a lot of them
Right.
became the actual like conservatives that are in office today. And
Yeah.
so with all of you, what I'm starting to recognize and what now I want to be really vocal about is that, okay, now as adults, it's our job to allow you guys to be the rebels, allow you guys to do your things, and not try to put you guys in a box, not try to have you guys conform, not have you guys do all these things. And I think that's what happened with that generation. And I want adults to be like, hey, we need to pour in our kids in a way that is like they're cheerleaders. We're advocating for them. We are supporting
Yes,
them. We're doing all of those things because I think that there wasn't that much of a support before. And I think that's
definitely.
what's going to be the difference is whether or not everybody else buys in to what you
Yeah.
guys are doing. I think that's the key is that before people didn't buy in to the youth know better kind of,
Yeah, definitely.
slogan. Where I buy into that slogan clearly because I do
Yeah.
this, but that's something that I just in the last year I've recognized that okay, it's our responsibility too to help all of you and nurture you in a way that you guys continue to be these like positive rebels.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really think it's amazing that you're allowing your like views to change or like perspective or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. Because I
Yeah.
think that's an issue we have is like people are so stubborn with what they think or like I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time, like Gen Z, the lazy
Oh
generation.
yeah.
And so I think like that's I mean, that's beautiful in itself. And I want to touch on something you said too about like, you know, conforming to like I mean conforming to corporate life or like
Yeah.
what you want to call it is I think Gen Z is really realizing that college isn't meant to get you a job. College is meant to conform you to be the best employee. And I
Oh.
think Gen Z doesn't, I mean, that's my opinion. I think
Yeah,
Gen
no, I
Z,
like that.
a lot of Gen Zers don't want to like be subordinate and we're so vocal and I mean, we have our phones all day that just like, I mean, we're exposed to so many different things. And so I think we're really starting to get fed up. And I think we're also a lot smarter than people think.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Believe me,
talk,
talk about
yeah.
feeling dumb. I'm like when I talk to all of you, I'm like sitting here going, "Wow, who's the one that really sounds ignorant?" It's this
I feel
gal
like
over
Gen
here.
Zers, we feel that with each other though. Like I'll talk to someone, I'm like, man, like how are you so well spoken? How are you so smart? It's like it's amazing. So I think that like we will see like I think we are kind of seeing an allowance of like Gen Z to have their rebellious um type stuff. But I mean, I think it really just depends. I think also like the political side of things depends is really important within that too. But I think in the end of the day, like Gen Z recognizes the issues and are really focused on wanting to fix them. And I think that's a beautiful thing in itself.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I believe that the more we just like recognize that you guys are really smart and very social aware and not sit here and just try to like point fingers and try to be negative, the better we can bridge those gaps and do better. And I know for me, um, as a 51, almost 51-year-old, I equate like everything that I'm doing now, I honestly feel like you guys are the ones that inspired me and gave me the motivation and gave
Mhm.
me the confidence to do what I'm doing. Because I listen to all of you and you guys are just go-getters and you don't take no. And we do hear a lot of this narrative around like, oh, they don't want to lose, they don't want to fail, they don't want to hear no. But I see that in a different light. I mean, maybe it's not the same as maybe like how we grew up, but you guys really don't allow like obstacles to get in your way. And so I just think I do want to thank all of like your generation. Like you guys have really helped me believe that I don't have to conform. I can leave my corporate job, which I did last year, and I can do something
Beautiful.
different. And you guys are the ones that are showing older generations like, hey, you can pursue something that you enjoy. You can pursue your passion because guess what? We're like helping you understand how to utilize social media, how to utilize AI, how to be creative in different ways. Like you guys are really showing a lot of us that we're not going to be left out to pasture at a certain age, that we could be 90 something years old and have a social media presence and still make
Yeah,
money and have fun. Like you guys, that's something I want older generations to admit. Like, hey, our you know, just like our job, career, anything, life doesn't end at a certain age. Like it keeps going,
yeah.
and it's because of your generation. I do believe that.
And it's never too late to start. And I think also what's really cool about our generation is like we can literally profit off of anything. I mean, people are literally like AI generating videos and making thousands of dollars a month just like doing that type of stuff. And so I think that also has probably shaped the way we view things a little bit too, in the sense of like, I'm passionate about something. There's a way that I can profit off of this and make it my job. And so I think I am personally excited to see what my generation looks like in 10 years. And so on, especially because I mean, we've already touched on so much about like this deadlock and this like
Yeah.
divide that we have, but I really don't think that there's this prominent of a divide. I think, when you talk to someone, no matter like their political affiliation or race or gender, like socioeconomic category, like many people feel very similar and just have like different ways they want to get things done. And I think that Gen Z is slowly like kind of starting to realize that. I've seen a big shift in the last like 6 months of just like people being fed up and like seeing more of this like, unity kind of be created. So it's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, like, unfortunately, at least, in the US, we're in a recession-ish. I don't want to like, throw things out there, but we're struggling. A lot of the
Yeah,
everyday people are struggling. So we can't fault all of you who can't find jobs coming out of college or just in college or in high school. I mean, I know so many of my friends whose kids are in high school, college, and they just want like your run-of-the-mill basic job at the local grocery store, at the local, clothing store, and they can't even get those type of jobs. And so how are we to fault you for being creative and just trying to figure out how to survive? And if that's what it takes, then who are we to sit here and point fingers? Like, good for you guys, you
definitely.
know?
Yeah, well, I think too, when you see this like kind of separation of like middle class, and there's really kind of becoming this like there's the like rich and poor, and like the middle class keeps
Oh
shrinking and
yeah.
shrinking. That's where you see this unity kind of evolve because you have even the upper class that is like, hey, this isn't fair because they were like previously the middle class, or you have the minority lower class that is like, I don't care anymore about your political affiliation. If you
Yeah.
were
Like
mad
I
about the
just want to
same
be able
things
to
that,
feed my kids.
yeah, like I just want to feed my kids or like
Yeah.
these kids. I mean, I have friends that are, graduating or just graduated from like Berkeley or UCLA. And I mean, they were, literally 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. every night working, going to school, doing clubs, doing all this stuff, and they can't find a job. And I'm just like, we go to these big named schools so we can be like pushed and channel this like energy, and I really do resonate. I think we're going to see a big shift within the next coming years revolving, people being angry despite, age or whatnot. I mean, we're in a totally different generation and we're just agreeing on all this stuff. I think I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with um any of these like typical markers.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that when I traveled across 13 states. Like I traveled across the bottom states. And, like anybody else, at least my age, you think, okay, if I'm going to be going through Mississippi, Louisiana, more of the rural areas, Alabama, like, oh, they might be thinking differently when I talk to these Gen Zers. And I have to tell you that everybody pretty much was like thinking the same thing. And that's what you were
Yeah,
talking about. If it weren't for the fact that I had access to social media and my phone, like most people do, I wouldn't have known that there was like such political divide and such just like craziness going on. Because when you just talk to all of you, everybody
yeah,
has the same wants and needs, and everybody, at the end of the day wants to feel connection and community and wants to be content. Like contentment is, I feel like that word was never really used with us. Like everything was like, I would just want to be happy. And I use that word in the film, but now that I think about it, like you guys are okay with being content. Like
yeah.
Like we weren't, I think. Like content meant like it was just status quo, but I don't believe that. Like I feel like being content means that like you're able to like live in that duality of like of both and just kind of sitting in the middle. It's like not one or the other. Like do you agree that
Definitely.
you guys are kind of feel that way a little bit more of
Yeah,
like it's
I definitely
okay to be
yeah,
content?
I think we just want to be content. I think there's been so much chaos for our generation. We're just like, we just want to be chill, relaxed, like content. And I think also what you said about like going through, those rural lower states and like seeing, talking to these people and they kind of feel the same. That's something that we've really channeled into Opal and what I've really channeled in like, my plate, finding my place at Berkeley. Because I mean, even on my college, I lived in the like student apartments, but my dorm floor, whatever you want to call it, there was a big just there was a lot of differences across everyone, and we my floor got like really close, and we talked about it so much, and it's so cool to watch people's minds expand and my own mind expand and just be like, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. And so I think like you go to these like a town that I grew up in, right? There's 4,000 kids, each like, or 4,000 people, each like class has like 100, or each grade has like 100 kids, and these kids literally grow up together. Like they're kids that I went to preschool with
Oh
that I
wow.
still talk to today. Like there's pictures and that where I'm like 3 years old with someone who I'm like, you know like 14 years old with. And so it's really a beautiful thing. And what you see in these smaller communities is like it's almost like its own culture,
Hmm.
is like people look out for each other left and right despite, any category. And like, do these places tend to lean more like like right Republican leaning? Yes. And like, I think there's a whole conversation surrounding like, why? Like this question is like, why do these places lean towards this way? But even despite these like common misunderstandings of political affiliations or whatnot, and I'm a registered Democrat, but I think that like there's such a divide where or misunderstanding of like these rural areas really do care about each other. You're sick, there's soup on your door. Like
Hmm.
if you need to go to the hospital, your neighbor will come and help you. And then the next day you'll be arguing over Facebook. Like, and I mean, there'll be a Facebook group chat, like, or
Right.
Facebook group going off arguing. Like when I got to Berkeley, my friends were like my friends at Berkeley were like, "You still have Facebook?" I'm like, "Yeah, like this is how I talk to
I
my
don't even have
community." And like,
Facebook.
yeah, no, like I mean, I still am in like my it's Kern River Valley news and whatever, and I'm like still going through it, and it's so cool too. I can talk like a little bit about just how important the teachers are within these communities, because they're underpaid, they're overworked, but they really care about their students. And I mean, I could literally name every teacher that I had, kindergarten through 8th grade. And I can't do that with, my high school teachers. And I was just
Mhm.
in high school a couple years ago. But I
Wow.
think that really goes to show how amazing they are. I mean, I had one teacher, 7th grade during COVID, would come and play basketball with me, like just for fun. And like my family offered to pay for like basketball lessons. I'm a huge basketball nerd. And she's like, no, like it's fine. And then I had, another teacher who like I still talk to this day. And so I think like these teachers really pour into their students. And the when Opal launches in a few months, one of the schools we're launching at is my middle school.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, and I literally messaged the vice principal on Facebook because I knew her growing up. She was my brother's like 3rd grade teacher. And I was like, "Hey, like I'm starting this like initiative, blah blah blah." And she's like, "Here's my email." Like, and I was able to get a meeting, and here we are, and we'll be speaking there in a couple months about Opal, and like kind of channeling this energy of like where you're from does not determine where you go. And she like it really goes to show that like they look like these communities really look out for each other,
Hmm.
no matter like where you go or who you are. And so I think it is really beautiful, and it's really cool to just see people starting to understand that more. And I think social media helps a lot, but I think it also hurts a lot too.
Mhm.
So I think it's an interesting balance.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mentioned in the beginning my best friend who I was at UCLA with, we were sorority sisters. She's driving down for my premiere. She's the one that is from Delano. And I remember the first time we went to go visit her home, she had like one stoplight in her entire town. But what was
Yeah,
crazy is that she was valedictorian, she was like head cheerleader, like all these things, right? And then she goes to UCLA and she's just like opened up a totally different world. And I remember just like talking to her about her upbringing and then my upbringing, and I was just like, gosh, this sounds so foreign to me, like
yeah,
it's crazy. So I love that you're someone that's like going back there and being like, well, let me give you these kind of opportunities too, so that you guys, maybe it's not such a stark difference when you
yeah.
kind of get out there. But yeah, you talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, it just takes me back being at UCLA and Courtney and just her small town. And her mom now lives in Bakersfield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they moved from
I
Delano to the big city.
Yeah, so Bakersfield is like my parents are separated, and growing up my mom moved to like LA area. And
Okay.
so I every weekend-ish I would go and visit my mom, and like my parents would meet halfway. So they do like a 2.5 hour drive. And our
Okay.
meeting spot was like in Bakersfield. And so I like hear Bakersfield, I just like get taken back because you go from Bakersfield through this like 45-minute windy canyon to get to Lake Isabella, which is like my hometown. And then you get there and it's just like, like there's like two or three stoplights. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
our we have diners. There's three diners across like Kern River Valley, or there's two now. It was three, and it's three different sisters own the diners.
Oh my
And it's like
gosh, that's so
Nelda's
cool.
diner, Cheryl's diner, and Francine's diner. And it's like, yeah. And like that's where we would go. And I even like I had one of the fifth grade teachers that I didn't have, but like she was in the room right next to me, was also like my singing teacher when I was like 5, and I'm a terrible singer. Like I'm completely tone deaf, but like, it's just like things like that in the rural town. Like my principal in elementary school was also my pastor growing up. Like
Wow.
there's just so many like overlaps, and it's beautiful. And I think these rural students just aren't exposed, and there's so
Mhm.
much to say about like exposure and equity,
Yeah.
right? And so
Oh
that's, I
yeah.
think, what Opal is really trying to channel is like, can we get these students exposed? Because, I think there's this debate of how involved should schools be. And you see that a lot in like urban areas. Is like, should schools really be like helping students, apply to college, or should they just like, talk about it, right? And I think that when you go to these like more rural close-knit communities, the teachers have to be the one talking. I mean, these towns, or towns like mine, are plagued with like opioid crises. You have parents working so much. I think the median income in Lake Isabella is $13,000 a year. Is
Oh
like
my
the
goodness.
yeah, like the medium average household income. And
And
it's
that's
like,
way below the poverty line.
I
So
mean, that's way
way
below.
below.
These kids don't. A lot of kids go home and they don't even know if they're gonna like get a meal. And then a, a lot of kids, they don't have the opportunity because their parents have to work, keep like work and work. And so it's really school where they get exposed to these different things, and then you're kind of just in this melting pot of like people from like the same space as you, and they don't get exposed to these different ideologies or different opinions. I mean, I didn't even know what investment banking was till last year. And it's
Wow.
like you go to Berkeley and it's like all these people want to get into investment banking. And I'm like, what the heck is investment banking?
You're like, what's
And
this
so,
whole trend about 6'5", blue eyes finance? Like, I want a guy in
yeah,
finance. You're like, I don't
yes.
understand why someone wants a guy in finance.
I
What
was
is
like,
that?
I literally was like, wait, like what? Like what are these things? And my dad
Yeah.
owns an e-commerce business, so I was really lucky to kind of be exposed to like, you know, like business stuff, but it's not like the traditional like,
Yeah.
you go to downtown and you have these like men in suits and like they're like talking, and it's just, I was like, why would anyone like want to like work in finance. Like this is like what is this?
Yeah.
I knew what accounting was, but I didn't know what an accountant did. And so also a lot of these kids like first off their goal isn't even to get through college, it's to like to graduate high school.
Yeah.
And there's so many kids that like enter the workforce or go to the military, which is I mean which is great. Military service is amazing, but
Hmm.
a lot of the time it's not because these kids don't have another option. And so I think there's something to be said about like how like there needs to be more equity for these students. How can we expose, kids to life outside of, their small walls of the mountain
Hmm.
walls that like keep us in there. And so it's really cool. And I when I talk to my friends from my hometown, we'll call every couple months, and I'll remind you like these are people I literally like started kindergarten with. Like there's it's so cool, and I'll talk to them about what's like what I'm experiencing, my different experiences. And one of my friends the other day goes, wait, like where's San Francisco again, where's Berkeley? And I mean you live in
Yeah.
California, you know where the Bay Area is, but
Yeah.
it's just like there's this lack of like exposure. So many kids have never been on a plane. For so many kids like Bakersfield is like as far as they've ever gotten. And there's so much out there, and I think it's been an amazing experience for me personally to just like be exposed to all these different things, and different food too. Like the Bay has amazing food. I'm like
Yeah. I'm sure
I,
you didn't
I
eat sushi growing up in in your
Oh my
town.
goodness. I have a funny story. So we had like grocery store sushi, which is like if I probably went back and ate it now, it's probably like disgusting because it's like it been imported and
Yeah.
like frozen. And I was like, I still remember to this day being in like fourth grade and like bringing it to school and being embarrassed to like eat it because no one ate like I've never seen
Yeah.
anyone eat sushi. And then you get to like the Bay and like
Oh,
man,
hey, everybody's
I
eating
mean
sushi.
everyone's eating. I like literally will like Uber Eats sushi and pick it up and go eat it like on the Glade, which is like our big grass area. So it's like it's just like the smaller things that
Yeah.
like people like to talk about these big things within like I think like, even the rural like urban divide isn't
Yeah.
talked about enough, but they talk
No.
about these
Yeah.
like big things, like political or like economic, but it's like the little social things that are
Well, I
so
bet you people
important.
are going to be surprised just listening, like, wait, there's rural areas in California that people don't even know. Like, yes, because also the consensus is California is super progressive, everybody's liberal,
Yeah.
everybody's got an electric car, everybody's like in Silicon Valley trying to do a startup, and it's like, no, people, this is across the entire USA. There's pockets of rural areas everywhere, and yes, in California
Yeah.
as well. So I love that because this is the first conversation that I've had really talking about, like, again, talking to someone that really comes from a rural area. Maybe they have and they just didn't want to talk about it, but you seem
Yeah.
very much like, hey, this is who I am and I'm proud of my upbringing and I'm proud to,
Yeah.
like, just say how we have to do things differently and all of that. Like, but yeah, I love it because I think people are going to be very shocked.
Yeah, I mean it's even when I talk to people, they're like, "What?" Like that's crazy. And like I honestly thought electric cars were kind of a myth. Like growing up, like you brought up the
Wow.
electric cars, and it's like I probably like my grandpa had a Tesla, but he didn't live in Lake Isabella. He like lived in the Bay. But for
Okay.
so many like kids, like they didn't. I mean, they really like my dad had a diesel pickup truck growing up. Like,
Oh,
like the pickup trucks are
so
still very
cool.
used in like the
Oh
rural town.
yeah.
So I think it's so different, and it's beautiful too because it's like the other thing is like this big like push for like support these small
Yeah.
businesses, and I'm like, yes, support these small businesses. Like that's what like kept like that was the entire economy of my town was like
Yeah.
I mean we had a Vaughn's grocery store, and I think and then Family Dollar or
All right.
Family Dollar Tree, but that was
Okay.
like those were like our Walmarts and Targets. Like so it's just it's so crazy and different, and like for me being in the Bay and like being around all these people is just like it's insane, but it's beautiful, and I'm excited for the work that Opal is gonna do.
No, I'm so
With
excited for you and just like you're someone that definitely is like has your eyes open and exploring and curious and just like taking it all in a way where you're going to be someone that's definitely going to be that person. You know how you do hear about people coming from like really small towns, rural, same thing, where it just their world was open in a way where they're like, I want to do more, I want to help more. Like you're that person and I love it. So then like
Thank you.
do you like how do you see your future? Like do you already have an idea of like career wise or what you want to do?
So my goal is to get into politics eventually.
Okay.
That's I mean I'm like I said I'm a political nerd. I'm pre-law right now. I'm not
Okay.
really sure what I mean we're just hating on like the corporate world and like lawyers are like inherently corporate.
Right.
But I do like have goals of like getting into politics in office somewhere at the state level, I think, because I think the
Okay.
work really happens at the state level. But
Hmm.
I mean, my passion is like what we're gonna be doing with Opal. And so if I could do that my entire life, I would love it. Because I think people need to see, you know, kids from rural town grow and be in the public spotlight. And I think that's why so many people like JD Vance too, is
Hmm.
he grew up in like some small
In Pennsylvania,
hillbilly
right? Yeah.
Ohio in
Oh,
like some
Ohio. Oh, okay.
yeah
No, I thought
yeah some
Pennsylvania.
so in the Appalachian Mountains. And it's like, who's this guy that like grew up in this like small hillbilly town?
Yeah.
And I remember like people from my town being like, wait, like this guy's kind of cool. Like he's so it's I mean there needs to be more spotlights and stuff. But I hope to get into politics eventually, and see some real change or help make or create the
Yeah.
change. Because I mean I'm really passionate about it, and I'm really passionate or you know, I hold the belief that if you're passionate about something, you should really act on it. And that's how I see or I hope to act one day. But for now, you know, I'm just a little sophomore in college. I'm trying to get good grades.
Yeah. Oh my God, I think that's amazing. I love your story. I love it. So is there
Thank you.
anything else that you want to share before we close out? Anything that you want people, I don't know, to take away from this? I mean, they're going to take away a lot, but maybe there's something
Yeah.
specifically that you're like, mm.
Well, I think really our motto with the Rural Fellows program is where you're from does not determine where you go. And I hope everyone holds that. And also, like, a big thanks to you too. I told you
Oh,
before, but I think the work you're doing is amazing. I think we need like more people like you shedding light on students, you know, across the board, rural or not. And I think really you're part of, you know, the work that I'm talking about and what you're talking about. And everyone can check out Opal. We are opal.org. You
where
know,
did you get the name Opal?
yeah, you know,
Is there,
it's so
I'm like, is
funny.
there like a cute story
So
behind that?
yeah, a little bit. I was not really. I was like sitting in my like I was talking with like my roommates and stuff. I'm like, I don't know the name for this, and I originally wanted to be like open
Oh,
doors,
okay.
and I was like talking to my girlfriend, and I was like, she's like, open sounds weird. Like you can't just say like with open, and so she's like Opal, and I'm like, okay, and then she's like opportunity, policy, advocacy, and leadership, and I was like. Perfect.
You're
So
like, there's a reason why you're my girlfriend.
I'm like, this is the reason why I love you. And
Yes.
so, yeah, that's kind of how Opal got its name. And
Okay, that's
so
perfect.
I can't even take credit for myself. It's all her.
Okay, great. No, I mean, I think, and I cannot wait to hear what the like what was the word that you were using for the next project, like with along with the UCSD and UCLA and UC
Oh,
Berkeley, where they're
the
going to
Opal
have.
Impact Challenge.
Yes, so like I would love to hear like what the topic or subject or what they have to solve is going to be. When
Yeah,
do we
it's gonna
find out?
be it we'll be voting on it next week,
That's what
so
you
I
said.
can
Okay.
let you know. It's gonna be really cool, you know, especially when it's, I mean, use the UC campuses are amazing, and
Yeah.
so we on our student board, it's students across UCLA, UC Berkeley, and UC San
Yeah.
Diego right now, and there's about 10 of us really channeling Opal and working on it. From you know ages between, I mean, I think our youngest is like 16 years old. He's like the only high school student on the board right now. But
Wow.
it's like 16 through like 25-year olds just like getting shit done, and it's amazing. It's going to be so beautiful, and I'm excited for you to get to see it, everyone to get to
Yeah,
see the
well, let
work
me
that we're
know, like,
doing.
if I can, go hop on at UCSD and check out, the people that are running Opal
Yeah,
there, because, like I could walk there if I wanted to. That's how close I
for
like. When
sure.
I voted in the midterms, that was my voting poll, and it was, it was hilarious. Is I
Hey,
was
voting's
clearly,
good.
I was the oldest person in line. It was all a bunch of UCSD students, and finally the woman comes up to me. She's like, "Hi, ma'am. So like you're registered?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "And this is your poll?" I said, "This is the nearest pole to me, so here I am, and I like to do it in person because I'm nerdy like that. I don't like to do
Yeah,
mail in. I like to actually feel like I'm there, and then I get the sticker. But I
yeah.
totally stuck out like a sore thumb for sure.
I got to vote for my first time this last November. And funny enough, my mom and I sit on completely different ends of the political
Okay, yeah,
sides. And so we were like standing in line, and I got my little sticker and stuff, and there's like a picture somewhere to our group chat, and it's like just voted on like completely opposite choices. It's like
yeah,
a little bit, and I was like, wait, like voting's so fun. Like I'm excited to get to vote again. It's like so important. I think a lot of that really comes from like growing up in a small town of like we all have our different opinions, but in the end of the day, like we still love and care about each other. And I think, my family across the board. So I have seven siblings. I'm
oh
the oldest of
wow,
seven. Yeah.
oh,
And
and the
so we
oldest,
yeah,
wow,
I'm the oldest of seven. And so we all have different opinions, split family too. Like there's
yeah,
everyone has different opinions, and I think through that it's like it doesn't matter. Like in the end of the day, it's like it's two sides of the same coin. So,
yeah. Well, I'm like, if
uh,
you're, are you a kind person? You're respectful of others. Like, are you like all of those things? Like the core, if that's what you are, then that's what is important to me. Like, if you're an awful human being and you're an asshole, I don't care. We could have voted the same, but I don't care because
yeah,
you're still an asshole.
it's
You know what I
really it's
mean?
not about party affiliation.
Yeah,
I mean, we talked a lot of what we talked about today goes back to that. It's like
yeah,
it's really not about party affiliation. We're all just people, and we all live in the same,
yeah.
country. And so I think it really it's really interesting to see that dynamic as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, this was fantastic, Kiki, and I already have a
Yeah,
couple
thank
people I'm going
you.
to intro you to when we get off this call.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah, because that's what happens is I start thinking like, who can I connect this person with? Because I see the value in like my community of adults and connecting them with all of you because they can help. It's not a handout; it's like a hand up in a good way. You know what I mean? Like of just
Thank you. That's
helping all of you.
amazing.
And so that's what I love about what I do too, is that I'm not just like sitting here talking, having a conversation. Like I try to really connect all of you in ways that helps all of you too. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think I've said this so many times, but I really think that your podcast is like so awesome and
Thanks.
amazing across the board. Like this is what we need more of because it's like it's a sense of hope. Like it really
Yeah.
is just beautiful on both ends. I
On
mean, I'm
both
sure
ends, believe
yeah,
me, like I have so
yeah.
much hope after every conversation that I have, every conversation I can say wholeheartedly, it always gives me hope and I'm always inspired.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
lovely. I love it. I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
that's what I want for everybody else. Like that's why I did this film. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping
Yeah.
the same thing.
It's I mean, I think that I've said it, but I just think
Yeah.
it's amazing what you're
Well,
doing. I
thank
think
you.
it's awesome, and I'm excited to see this episode and see
Yes,
all the
it'll
other
drop
ones.
tomorrow because I drop them every Wednesday. So
Oh,
since tomorrow
perfect.
happens to be Wednesday, we'll hear it tomorrow. So it'll
I
be nice
scheduled
and
a
nice
good,
and fresh.
yeah, nice and fresh. So
Yeah.
you're gonna be working tonight on the editing.
Yes, I will be because I already admitted my perimenopause in there somewhere, but that'll be bleeped out, guys.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I love it. Well, thanks again,
Uh,
Kiki.
yeah, thank you so much. And I mean, we'll talk further after call, but I really
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
absolutely.